1. This one time, an 8-top split the bill 4 ways. Couples. I did the whole inform me of any discrepancies speech and billed them out. 20% all around except one couple. The guy left me less than 10%, but no sweat. I wasn't bothered. 20 minutes after, I see the cheap tipper's wife on her way back into the restaurant, all geared up for a fight. It was getting quiet at that point, just a couple tables. A great audience for what was about to occur. She storms in, pulls out the bill, and indignantly points out one of the appetizers. Says that it was shared, and as such, her husband should not have been charged. She says, "It is ridiculous that we should pay for this." I was chilled. I immediately felt a huge wave of pity for the husband who had clearly been drilled in the parking lot for 15 minutes. I composed myself carefully and go all smiles and ask, "So you want me to reopen the table, refund the card, and then charge the card again for a different amount, and process the table again, and have us eat the cost of the app?" "Yes." "Well, honestly, that's ridiculous. It's a lot of work, but I think I can make this right." And I pulled out my wallet. I tried to hand it to her. "Seems to me like we owe you some money, so how much do you want?" "What are you doing? Can't the restaurant cover it?" "Sure, but I'm not going to ask my boss to cover this one. The food was good, right?" She nods. "And until I messed up with the bills, service was good." Nods again. "Okay, so it's my mistake. This is between me and you, so let me make it right. How much do you want? $20? $40? She starts looking really uncomfortable and mugging me all of a sudden. I found out my float. It's not a lot. I was 23 and looked it too. "Go ahead. What was the app? $13 plus tax and tip? Here, take 20 for now, and you've actually made a few dollars tonight, right? Is that enough? Do you want more? You can have my whole wallet." And I politely try to give her more. Shell-shocked as fuck, she slowly takes the 20 out of my hand and walks out of the restaurant, head hanging way down. Sometimes it's very clear what people want, and sometimes giving to them makes them see what's really happening. A grown woman is leveraging her bad attitude and emotions to win one over on some kid, some business, anything at all. I would have paid $500 easily to never see her again. I got a good deal. I still am awestruck she had the gall to take it. Third worst customer of my life. Good luck to all my fellow servers, and here it's a wild world. 2. Okay, so just a short preface. I am not a server, I'm a food runner. However, this happened to the servers as well, so I'm not alone in this. Also required by contract, these are my opinions and mine alone. About 3 weeks ago, I turned in an application for a close-by 5-star restaurant I used to go to when I was younger. Back then it wasn't a 5-star, it was nice to the community and overall had a blast with it. I go into my interview, and things are going great. I'm told I would be making $11 an hour for food running, which at the time I thought sounded too good to be true. So my first duty as a food runner is training, which involved going over keywords to say and sitting around for 5 hours with nothing to do. This continued for about 5 days, which I was okay with, thinking I'd get 11 for doing nothing at work. I was so stoked. Here's where things get bad, you see. The reason we were doing nothing is because this location I was hired at within the resort wasn't open. So, how could I do anything if it's not open? Well, my managers decided to put us to work. Me and about 8 other people had to move heavy furniture for the location. This was the hottest it's been. After 4 loads, the servers and host decided to walk away and hang outside. That left 4 guys to move 7 more loads of gradually heavy furniture. After all is said and done, I'm sunburnt to hell, I look awful, I'm dehydrated, and I get sent home. I was happy because I thought I was making a lot for relatively simple work. I ended up working a banquet at this resort, and I actually ran food. That was great. Anyway, more and more moving furniture later, and the location delays opening. but has a mock service for opening, which is basically a test to see how well the kitchen can work at the busiest possible moment. Suffice to say, the mock service was terrible. There were too many people in the kitchen. The broth was terrible. Food service was slow, and I had to auction off food, which is a big no-no at a big resort. In the end, I was told I'd be getting a big tip for that, which I still haven't received. The day after the mock service, I finally got my first paycheck, and I was only making $7 an hour for hard manual labor I wasn't hired to do. With the hours I worked, that meant I made $120 less than I was promised. Motherfuckers. A few details I forgot to add. I talked to HR about my pay difference. They said that because I worked the banquet, the tips I got from that meant that I made above minimum wage, so they didn't have to comp me. Just a detail I forgot, my bad, on with the post. Okay, here we go. I was fuming. I talked to my manager, and they basically said that they didn't say 11, and that now that the location was opening the next day, I'd be getting a lot of tips. So I'd end up making more than $11 an hour. I said, okay, figuring it would be nice. First day of opening. It goes very well, not too many rude people, and I got to do what I was hired to do. Second day was much of the same. I get my mandatory days off because I'm a minor, and I come back into work today, and it's closed again. Now, I work at a pool location present on property. The pool has big rocks as decoration. Well, the construction crew didn't treat the rock correctly, and I was causing the filters to close. I think it's a buildup of calcium. Anyway, I had to move the furniture off the pool deck, which took 3 hours for 6 people. And I'll have to move it back Friday, which sucks. Today, I only made 81 cents in tips, as we still offered food upstairs, the inside section. Anyway, all that is to say, please be nice to food runners. They have to do more than you think. Also, short side story, I offered a lady free pizza for selling her fruit. She was very nice. Anyway, have a nice day. 3. On my day off, I got called to come into work. I was annoyed, but also excited to come into work, since it would be my first time alone on the floor after 3 days of training. I worked super hard on my waterproof makeup, and headed out the door to get to the restaurant. I was confident, although nervous. Most of my tables were very sweet and understanding and tipped very kindly. I received nice notes on the tips, and it was easy to smile. The host started to give me way too many tables to look after. I kept saying to them that I don't think I'm ready for 5 tables at once yet, including parties. They just kept giving me more than I could handle. I'm putting in an order for a party of 7, and the host comes up to me and says, "Table 73 is complaining to me and wants to order. They've been waiting there for a while." I tell the host that I'm really overwhelmed and I'd appreciate it if they didn't seat more people in my section. I walk over to table 73 and start to ask them how they're doing, and my whole "I'm new, please bear with me" thingy. The man cuts me off mid-sentence and says very angrily, "I know, I don't care, I've been sitting here. You could have come by and got us drinks." I apologize profusely. I got their order and went back to put it in. At this point, I'm already a bit emotional because it felt like I was being yelled at by my dad. It felt terrible. Next thing you know, I have to get checks for tables 61, 63, 71, and boxes, sausage refills, more orders, you know. As soon as I punch in table 73's order and click the big send, they just walked out of the restaurant. I broke down. I had 2 other tables waiting for me to greet them. I couldn't do it. I was trying so hard not to let those tears fall out of my eyes. I had to explain to the manager what happened with my voice just breaking. And after, I excused myself and went to the bathroom with a kid's cup of water and cried. Free Falling was playing in the back. I just looked at my sad self in the mirror and cried and cried. I just felt so pathetic to be crying over something so small in my first day alone. A lot of co-workers saw me cry, and I felt very uncomfortable and like a baby. Some co-workers did comfort me and reassure me, but I didn't feel very strong. The only thing that made me come out of the bathroom was this thought. I don't have to serve them anymore. I have other people out there who I need to take care of and try my best to help out. So I wiped that last tear and walked back out there. Later I met very kind, interesting people who really made my night better. I made decent tips for Wednesday night, and I had good conversations with some coworkers. I have infinite respect for servers in restaurants I've been to now. 4. I work in a medium to high-priced Italian restaurant in the Netherlands. This particular evening I was working as a server on the upstairs floor by myself. Normally we have at least 2 people working on the upstairs floor, but of course we were short on staff, so I had to do it by myself. The evening was going pretty well at first. Then these 2 guys came in. We noticed that they probably already had some drinks that day, so we seated them upstairs at a table where they couldn't really bother too many people. I went to their table and found out that they were really nice and social, which I was really happy about, because I always like to have a fun chat with our guests. After getting them their drinks and chatting for a while, they noticed our 1-meter-long pizza to share. They were really interested, but I assured them it was a dish to share between at least 5 to 6 people. The guys said they were really hungry, so after I warned them, they followed through with the order. I asked if they had any allergies or toppings that they didn't like. The toppings of our 1-meter pizza are selected by the pizzaiolo to keep it somewhat reasonable. "Don't we get to choose?" I said to them, "If you have any particular suggestions, I can always ask the pizzaiolo." Content with my response, they asked for at least 2 parts with black truffles, 1 part with fresh seafood, 1 part with the dry-aged meat, and 1 part with a chef's surprise. Each one of those cost around €20, or $24 as a single pizza. I already told them that it would probably be a higher adjusted price because this 1-meter pizza normally costs €50. They argued a little bit, but eventually agreed after I came back with the full price I received for my chef. As they were finished with the huge-ass pizza, some woman from another table called me over and whispered, "Those guys over there took 2 bottles of wine from the big shelf next to them and put them in their bags." I thanked her for her alertness and went to get my boss. They probably noticed the situation because when my boss and I walked upstairs to confront them, they quickly got the bottles out of their bag and put them on the table. My boss asked them what they were doing with the expensive bottles. They responded with, "We were just looking at them." The lady who alerted me overheard the situation and quickly said that she saw what the guys were doing. They were kind of embarrassed, and my boss just told them, the confrontational man he is, "If you want to see a bottle, you just ask someone for the staff to explain the wine for you." Yeah, they definitely didn't want to just see the bottle. They drank another beer after the incident and decided to play it cool with me. They tried to talk me into playing along with their joke, but of course I wouldn't fall for their annoying, manipulative way of interacting with me. I just gave them the bill and said I didn't really appreciate their joke because it wasn't a joke. They eventually left without apologizing or tipping. How surprising! Afterwards, I offered all guests at the table with the woman a coffee on the house to thank them for being honest and alert. 5. I have the feeling days tend to go when they're slower. I don't know what it is, probably just me having time to actually think about all the nonsense people put me through, instead of just mindlessly rushing to get it done. But after weeks of madness, European Soccer Championship, I work at a giant brewery in Germany that has public viewing in the equally giant beer garden, which is a huge thing here. Today was this news in terms of workload. Germany is out of the championship. It rained cats and dogs. So I didn't open the patio in the morning when I came in. And despite expecting few customers, the second waiter who was scheduled to come in an hour after me was not cancelled. Well, strange. But I guess we'll just chill and have a coffee together. First customer is giving me some nonsense about COVID, since we have to get your contact information, either on paper or you use an app. This is the case in all of Germany and everyone knows it. Data gets transferred to the Department of Health and destroyed after 2 weeks. But if the plague breaks out in our establishment, they contact you. Obviously, I don't care about his personal feelings about the pandemic. I had 3 hours of sleep and walked through the rain to get to work, so frankly, there are a lot of things I don't care about at the moment. I just shut him down before the rant can even really begin, telling him I am not allowed to serve him without it, and he begrudgingly fills the little sheet with his name and email address. Yeah, that's it. Dude orders what basically amounts to 5 courses of food, one after the other, and begins to turn the table into his man cave. There is food everywhere, not because he has the jitters or impeded motor skills, but because he eats like a pig. He has gotten his laptop out at some point, and the food is on the laptop too. Not only the table and everything on it gets it, though. There is soup on the floor between his feet, combined with French fries and strawberry sauce from his dessert. By the time I have cleaned his table for the 5th time, after being called over, he tells me he's a little clumsy today. It would seem so, I answer. And the guy apparently feels properly shamed by this statement, and henceforth uses his napkin to deal with the worst of it, instead of calling me a 6th time. I had a maximum of 6 combined tables at any given time, usually around 3, so really, it wasn't a matter of me being too busy to continuously clean up his mess. I just have a hard time understanding why people eat like toddlers as soon as they leave their own house. Sadly, though, not the last mess I would have to deal with, as I soon found out. An hour goes by. Some tables come, some tables go, and I just polish cutlery and move tables around for afternoon reservations, when a strange menage a trois walks in, suitcases in tow. They just come from a vacation and want some fresh air, pointing at the patio that is still closed and rained on. I don't even comment, and the women dissolve their discussion by saying it's too cold outside. Cold. Never mind the thunderstorm with the side flash flood that's going on outside. They are exactly as insufferable as you imagine people to be, that have just gotten their asses kissed for 2 weeks in some all-inclusive resort. Dude argues 10 minutes with me over wine. We have 3, red, white, rosé. We're a brewery, guys. Beer is where it's at. He also keeps calling me what roughly translates to missy or girl. I am in my mid-30s, and just give him a very obvious raised eyebrow in that one. Lady of the trio wants a burger, but without the bun and maybe some additional salad instead. Telling her that the salad would be extra is very confusing to her. I don't think that explaining to her that I can't replace a 20-cent bun with a side dish that has 15 different ingredients will have any useful results. So I just tell her that I asked the kitchen chef, and he told me that it needs to be billed or won't happen. Sorry, my guy, you are the best. I feel filthy every time I use Cook as a scapegoat. She tells me it's fine, and she didn't mean to make things so complicated, and repeats it 3 times with the tone and a look I've only seen from guilt-tripping partners in toxic relationships. Luckily, I'm still sleep-deprived and still don't give enough of a crap, so I just apologize for the inconvenience and go on with my work, while she goes without a salad. The sky clears up for 10 minutes, and I consider opening the patio, look at the weather forecast for the next hour, and see that the next storm front is already rolling in. Cue woman knocking on the patio door, telling me she'd like to sit outside after I poke my head out. I tell her the patio is closed since it's going to rain again in a few minutes, but she is welcome to sit inside. She points out that there's 2 tables on the right that are covered by the roof, so she'd be dry. I point out that I won't be dry as I walk through the rain to this part of the patio to take her orders. She has selective hearing and tells me she'd like a beer and if I could bring a menu to this table. I tell her the patio is closed. She looks honestly dumbfounded, as if my last sentence is completely new information for her. She says, "Okay," and walks off. So far, the lunch shift hasn't gone horribly. Got a few odd customers that are mostly just annoying, and because I'm sleepy and bored, I'm a bit more exasperated than usual. But everything is pretty okay-ish, and I know I have 2 hours to go before the afternoon shift comes in, and I can go home and take a nap. Really, it gets even better. when a woman from one of the tables walks up to the bar and tells me she wants to pay. Her extremely elderly grandmother, is already putting a jacket on and seems eager to get out of here. I don't know what the rush is. I was there the whole time and they could just wave me over. But it's whatever. Maybe they want to make sure to not get caught in the next bit of the storm. So I get her bill right there at the bar, and she tips me like royalty, and man, my day is definitely brightened now. That is, until I walk to the table to clean it and see the giant wet spot where Granny has been sitting just a few minutes ago. Guess she couldn't hold her bladder, and the giant tip was driven by shame instead of good service. It's good that I'm so tired, really. I don't even think about it. Just take the chair and haul it to the back to be cleaned or burned, still not giving a single fuck. I get it. It must suck when you get older and can't hold it. And I understand being embarrassed, but man, I've cleaned so much vomit as a waitress. Stuff like this doesn't faze me anymore. But that you run off for me to discover my surprise gift, instead of being a decent human being who gives me a heads up, and maybe apologizes for the inconvenience? Slow days, man. They are cursed. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 144. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you liked the video, then please do like, comment, and subscribe. And if you could share the video around to all your friends and family and miscellaneous individuals you encounter in your daily life. Got a plumber coming? Let me put some Hellfreezer on in the background. Let me seduce that plumber while he works with his big tools. Right, anyway, right, where are we? This is Saturday. Saturday night. Have you seen my mates? Mother, tell me when the chaps get here. It's 7 o'clock. I would like to do a spot of dancing, if you wouldn't mind. Possibly partake of some wine and so on. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes, right. Saturday night, probably a gaming stream later. You will hear a kind of in the background because I'm going to have a fan on. You know, I'll be playing games, chilling out with fans while chilling out with an actual fan. Or two. I might put the ceiling fan on as well. We'll see how wild we get. I think I'm going a bit strange these days, to be honest with you. I'm blaming the heat. Anyway, with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.